You wanna know what she said, she might just change your life.
Hello there, I'm Christine Bentley with Sharon Caddy, and we are going to have so much fun this morning.
I know.
Very inspirational lady, Annie Hadcock, the co-founder of Annie and J14 fashion blog. It's a sister blog. Hi there, Annie.
Hi, thanks for having me on the show today. This has really been exciting for us. We have a really great fashion blog that we like to talk about today, and just different ways about being a plus-size woman, trying to find clothing, especially in Toronto where we do a lot of shopping. And we like to just kind of talk about positive body image and that sort of thing today on the show.
You look fantastic, by the way. As soon as you came in, the first thing I said is great dress.
Great dress. No, I'm looking at the shoes.
Oh,
shoes. Oh, the shoes are awesome.
Well, one thing about us, too, we try to do things that are affordable. So this dress, I got it gussied up. It was a $200 dress. I got it on Bathurst, and I walked in the door yesterday, and I said, ladies, I need a dress. And I tried on about 10 dresses, and there's something wonderful about being able to walk into a store and find things that fit.
Yes.
I'm a size 16, 18, and I can walk into stores for hours. I can go into the Eaton Center and not find a darn thing. I walked in there, I was there 15 minutes, found a dress. And these wonderful shoes that I'm wearing are shoes from Payless, and I bought them last year on sale for $30.
Yeah. So, I mean, what's wrong with the world? I mean, do you think the world is coming around a little bit? Because, you know, we've just seen, for example, in Paris, they're now imposing huge fines on the runway if the models are too thin. I mean, this whole vision, do you think we're slowly changing the vision of beauty? Look at Dove's campaign, look at some of these measures.
Real people.
Is it happening fast enough?
I think it's starting to happen. I think that plus size fashion is starting to explode because it isn't really a niche market anymore. The average American woman is size 14. And I think it's about the way that whenever you see a fashion magazine, they try to sell you the fashion with this fantasy. And the women that pose in these magazines, they're girls, they're 16 years old.
And they don't look like that.
And they don't look like that. They've been photoshopped. So technically what we're getting in the magazine is a humanoid person, but not really a real person.
It's almost an illustration.
It is. Yeah. And I think for me, this blog was kind of a way for me to create the fantasy for myself. I want to be able to see what I look like in the brands, and so do a lot of other women. So if you're a size 14 woman, you're going to more likely go to find something that you'd like to wear at Curvy Kate's in the UK as opposed to Victoria's Secret, because I don't know, as soon as I see the girls in Victoria's Secret, they're beautiful girls, and I am not going to shame them for being that beautiful. But I know right away, I kind of wince and turn the channel because I know that that product is not going to fit me.
Yeah.
So, you know, it just makes good business sense to be able to show a plus-size model wearing clothes. When I go on a website, I'm like, this woman is a similar shape to me, and I know that this dress may possibly fit.
Yeah, it looks good on her, and there's a great chance it'll look good on me. Yeah.
So what was the motivation, though, to start the blog? Were you always maybe plus size, and were you bullied? I mean, what you know, you must have come from a place where because this mission is pretty strong for both of you.
It is. I think that my sister, she's a radio producer as well over at 1010, and she's the producer for More in the Morning, and I'm in visual arts, and I find that there was a lot of pressure for me to try to be thinner, and I've gone through the gauntlet. So has Jessie. We've tried every diet. I went for a year without eating sugar. I went for a year without eating bread, and my parents own a bakery, so that was really difficult.
Wow.
So, you know, I tried all these different things, and I maybe lose 10 to 15 pounds, and what I really noticed when I had this sort of negative self-body image about myself was the fact that I was missing out on life.
Yeah.
When I went to the beach, everybody went swimming. I would have shorts and t-shirt on, and I would watch because I'm like, oh no, I don't want people to see what my body looks like. And I'm at that age now where, you know what, I'm going to embrace this, right? I don't want to miss out on life any longer, and I really love fashion. Before I got into visual arts, when I was maybe 19 years old, I put out tons of applications. I got accepted into fashion school, and I also got accepted into visual arts, and I went in the visual arts direction. But that doesn't mean that now that I'm older, I'm still intensely interested in fashion. Now that there seems to be a trend moving towards fashion that's interesting and something that fits me. So, you know, it's kind of an exciting time, I think, right now.
Now, what kind of response have you gotten from your readers?
I was just going to ask that.
Because it must be amazing.
Well, I get a lot of response. People just say, Anne, where'd you get that dress? And, you know, And I just feel really good about myself knowing that you're out there and you're not afraid to show us what you look like. And I'm not going to even go out there and say that I don't have problems with my body sometimes when I get up in the morning still. I still have problem areas. I'm like, oh man, look at that. But,
Yeah, what we call the jiggly bits.
The jiggly bits. And, but I'm at the point now where I'm feeling more and more confident about myself. And I think that's really important. I think that, I'm totally against fat shaming and all of those sorts of things, because just because you're a plus size doesn't mean that you're not a beautiful person. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a place in the world and you shouldn't be visible, because there's this misconception that people that are plus size or are lazy and all of these misconceptions, and this is not true. Some of the plus size people I know are the hardest working people around. And it also has to do with demographic, access to healthy food and access to all of these things. It's really easy for, say, a celebrity to come on the air and fat shame someone.
Oh, yeah.
But meanwhile, they've got stylists and they've got
trainers and chefs and yeah.
The rest of us, we don't have that.
No.
So all we can do is hope for balance in our lives.
Yeah.
Right? So, and this is what I'm hoping for, that we just have kind of like a positive balance and be a little bit less hard on ourselves.
But I think it's starting to happen. Now, I have to tell you that, 20 years ago, I had friends who maybe were a little bit plus and said they could never find anything to wear. Now, I can tell you that the last time, I can't remember, a couple of weeks ago, I was in a Winners, let's say.
Yeah.
And I'm walking past going, oh, this is gorgeous. And then I realized it was a plus. It was the plus size section. They had way better stuff in that section than what are non-plus size chart sizes. So
I find that too. I find that
fabulous stuff.
Yeah.
Oh.
And in order to design plus size clothes and have it work properly, you really have to have an eye for design, because any sizes that are up to a 14 are just a straight size made on a particular mannequin. But when women get to be plus size, over 14, we start putting on weight in different areas. My body, I look like, a popsicle. Or, you have a different body shape. Some women put weight down lower. So you have to really start thinking about seams and designs and different ways that patterns work. And it's not the same old way where you used to have the clothing of old, where the big flowers everywhere and a big shapeless. What they used to do is they used to take the straight size cut mannequin and just enlarge it 5 sizes, which doesn't actually work because you look like a tea bag in it. So it's no good at all. So they're really working hard on trying to make better designs. Now, some places out there aren't doing so well, but we've got Eloquii, we've got Easy, we've got a lot of websites, and they actually will have different parts of the website where you can see sizing and see different body types to see what will actually suit your figure. Yeah. And that's really helpful.
We are chatting with Annie Hadcock, co-founder of Annie and J14 Fashion Blog, on What She Said on Sirius XM 167 Canada Talks. I'm Sharon Caddy with Christine Bentley. And sizing, you mentioned sizing. This is something that just, doesn't matter what size you are, drives me nuts, okay? Standardized sizing has gone out the window because everybody, especially started with the higher end clothing, where suddenly, well, if you were a 6, now you wear a 0. And they mushed up the numbers. And now I come from a background of sewing, okay? And a size 12 or a size 14 in sewing is like an 8 or a 10 in store clothes. Whatever happened? Like, I don't know why we got to this place in our own minds where we had to start fudging numbers to make ourselves feel better.
I don't know either. It's really, I think it just has to go with different ideals and just the different way that body sizes have gone up. Like back in the 50s, a voluptuous woman was seen as very attractive, and then all of a sudden, and you have to have a thigh gap in order to be attractive.
But it's funny, we do that, and who are we doing it for? Because if you talk to, at least from what I know and people I know and what I've read, most men are like, that's not attractive.
Yeah, and I think, what women have to do, too, is they have to stop looking at themselves like they're an object. You own your own body, and the only person that has a right to tell you how you're supposed to look is yourself. If you're somebody that wants to work out of the gym for 8 hours a day to look like that, and you're a fitness model and that's your job, well, awesome.
Good for you.
For me, not so much. I like to work 8 or 9 hours in my studio, and I like to have a piece of chocolate, and I like to have an espresso, and then I could go on. But, it has to come down with, you own your own body, and you make the decisions, right? And if the only way that you're going to have a good body image is to have confidence, and part of that confidence is the transformative quality of having nice clothes, right? So yeah, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
what size you are. You should have the clothes that you need.
It's all about owning it.
Yep.
It's all about owning it.
Who you are. You know, put on the makeup, do the hair, and don't be thinking, which we've been guilty of, our generation, of, well, you know, maybe I'm too big for this, or maybe my legs aren't long enough. You know, what? Own
I'm
it.
too big, I'm too
just
short,
own
I'm
it.
too
If you
old,
love
I'm-
it,
yeah.
if you know, just do it.
And I think too, with me, like I have I'm dressed quite girly today, but just because I'm girly doesn't mean that I'm not strong.
Right.
And then since I'm an artist, 5 hours from now I'll be in my 1970 old overalls doing some welding. So, you know, and that's another beef
That's
I
kinda
have.
cool, too.
try to find welding clothes for a woman in my size, or going into Mark's Work Warehouse and trying to find clothes that fit. I'm like, So
oh dear.
yeah, you know, like they don't make clothes for women. I find in a lot of those places.
Right.
They're made for men, then you got to go with the sleeves shortened, and so
Yeah.
we're talking. It's all across the board. You know, we need to have more variety, just in general, for everyone.
But we're moving in the right direction.
We
I
are.
think
We are.
I hope
I think
we're
we
moving
are.
in the right direction.
So for people that want to join up, read, celebrate with you, where do they find your blog?
They can find our blog online. It's at AnnieandJPlus.com. On Facebook, Annie and J, and Twitter, Annie and J14.
I think that sounds just fantastic.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks very much for having me on the show today.
Click the channel subscribe button for full-length interviews and more from What She Said here on YouTube.